is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pocondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, hey, in diaspora, current affairs, hey, reliable information, history, talking about culture, hey, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Tenured.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another edition of Friday Night Debate on Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jar, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Every Friday, we have the Friday Night Debate where we debate current issues and other issues making headlines in our country, Liberia. Tonight, we're going to be looking at the Supreme Court ruling on tenure positions and the subsequent actions of President Joseph Newman Boakai suspending all the commissioners at the LTA and replacing them on pending investigation. We're going to be debating that. Is the president right? What does the Supreme Court ruling mean for the Boakai presidency? His latest action to suspend commissioners at the LTA for, I would say, corruption, pending investigation, submitting them to an audit process. Is this vindictive, as some may call it? Is this witch hunt? Is this within his right as president of the country? Some are even calling for impeachment, say this is abuse of power. We're going to be debating all that. Let me welcome Focus on Liberia political analyst, the man from Kalipo, the Waplo Institute, that's his alma mater, Mr. Mohammed Sharif. Welcome, sir.
Dennis, it's good to be here.
Let me also welcome Mr. Jimmy Eastman. He hosts Focus on Liberia Breaking News. Mr. Eastman, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure being here, Dennis. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, let me also welcome Father Elijah B. Washington. He's a panelist here at Friday Night Debate. Father Washington, welcome. I mean, we really need God at this time.
Thank you, Dennis. I'm excited to be here, and it's always a privilege to share the platform with our intellectuals of our country.
Thank you. Let me welcome Mr. J. Victor Nabi, another Focus on Liberal political analyst. Welcome, Mr. Nabi.
Hey, Dennis, listen, I like to say it's good to be here, but I quickly have to extend my deepest sympathies to my cousin, May Jeffrey Kamara, and the rest of the family in Ohio. We suffered a death this morning. So I'd like to extend my sympathies to Sister Jeffy Kamara, May Kamara, and the rest of the family. Cousin B Atoka Wea, cousin Della, uh, cousin Felicia, and cousin Doreen, and the rest of the family back home in Liberia, as well as Sam Abu, the husband of Comfort. This is a lady who went to work yesterday and came back last night, and yet, today she's not with us. It's really sad.
Wow.
But notwithstanding, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, and we're sorry for your loss. We also extend our sympathy to the bereaved. Let me welcome Champs Ma, Glendy Jane Jr. Welcome, Glendy. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Hello to everybody. My condolences to Victor. And you comfort very well. We were all on Cuttington together. I was shocked by the news around 2:00 this morning, and it's just difficult to learn about somebody who was so vibrant and so present in a lot of people's lives. So we hope that God comforts her family. It's a tough time, really tough time for someone like that, for us to lose someone like that. Well, hello, everybody. I missed all of you. I said I had to come tonight before Dennis and start talking plenty of things.
Welcome. Welcome. And I watched you briefly on a sister network. I said, let me see what Glendy will say about the Supreme Court ruling. But let me welcome. I want to say, this is the Supreme Court handed down the ruling concerning the tenure positions. And so the first thing I want to start with, I know we're going to get to the suspension of the LTA commission, but let's first go around the room. The Supreme Court ruling, what's your reaction? And what does this ruling mean for the Boakai administration? Let me start with you, Mr. J. Victor Nabe.
Well, Dennis, listen, I think this is a good thing for Liberia, that the Supreme Court is finally ready to check the powers of the executive. And I think this has nothing to do with President Boakai. And this is what the Supreme Court is supposed to do, right? To tell the executive, right, to enforce the law as the laws require. So I think what the president did, though it may not be illegal, but it wasn't done properly. The court is saying the procedure that the president followed to effectuate the change was in error. They did not say he shouldn't do it, but he should go back and do it properly. So I think this is a good day for Liberia. At least the institutions are beginning to stand up, play the roles that they are supposed to play.
Thank you. And just for the sake of those who may miss it, let me read for you the Supreme Court ruling briefly. It says, having carefully examined the facts contained in the records, listen to the arguments on both sides, and consider the laws relevant thereto, it is hereby adjudged that the Supreme Court has held that Article 89 of the Constitution 1986, which gave the legislature the authority to create autonomous agency, does not contravene Article 56 of the Constitution. Hence, the act by the President of Liberia in nominating persons to the petitioner's position while their tenures are still in force and unexpired is tantamount to their removal from office, and that there being no showing of the existence of any of the conditions for the petitioner's removal from office has stipulated in the act creating the respective entities to which the petitioners are appointed, the said removal from office prior to expiry of their tenure without due process is ultra vires. That's a legal word. Wherefore, in view of the foregoing, the alternative writ of prohibition issued by the Justice in Chamber is hereby affirmed, and the preemptory writ prayed for is granted. The nominations giving rise to these petitions are hereby ordered revoked. The clerk of this court is mandated to inform the parties accordingly, and this is hereby so ordered.
Right.
Father
So
Washington?
I'm not a lawyer, but I think that preemptory or whatever the writ is called, it's I think usually referred to as a writ of mandamus, which is a writ that compels you to do the right thing, to do what is the needful thing. And I think that's what the Supreme Court is arguing, that this president should have gone about this in the fashion as prescribed by the law, which obviously he did not follow. He didn't follow.
Right. Because that word means it is beyond his legal authority. Let me hear from Father Washington on the what I just read.
I think
what does it mean?
Yeah, I think we have a pretty interesting country. I mean, we have a country that our quest is to see a vibrant country, a country of the rule of law. We are excited about it, and I'm glad that this president wants to do the right thing. But then the question I ask myself in his quest, it exists to do the right thing. Wouldn't you? We have three equal but coordinate branches. I don't know whether it's not possible to kind of, if you're not sure of the decision that you're making, to kind of confer and say, hey, this decision, even though I might have a legal advisor who thinks that he knows the right thing, but is it not possible to kind of confer and ask why this is the right thing to do before one goes ahead and do what they need to do? But for you to go back, I mean, yeah, the Supreme Court has is a great thing. It has that ability what it did. But I just think that sometimes, as much as I agree that there was the good decision for our country to show that, our branches are equal and the Supreme Court has the right to do what it has to do. But sometimes I just think that if I'm going to make a decision as president, I need to confer. I need to ask the bigger questions. I need to ask the best people to tell me, is it the right thing to do before I make this kind of decision? So that's where I'm coming from. And I think that I think the president needs to learn from this kind of thing. I know he might have a legal advisors, but sometimes I think that's the way to go. To kind of really research the thing before you make these kind of decisions. But I think it's a good decision for our country, and I'm glad that the Supreme Court made that decision.
What does it say about the Bwaka administration?
I think. Yeah, people in the past have argued that President Bwaka he's been in power, so he knows it. But that shows now that he's learning on the job, despite the fact that he's been in the public sector for the long. But I think it shows me now that he's learning on the job, and he needs to learn fast because these kind of I wouldn't call it error, but I think people who his advisors are not telling him what the right thing is. Because when we first listened to what his name at Keita. When I first listened to him, what he said, I thought he was actually now with the Supreme Court decision that tells me that to learn on the job, very fast, so that he doesn't make the kind of decisions again.
Thank you. Let me go to the chairman, Glendy. What's your take?
So there's several things that's happening here. First, I want to agree a little bit with what Victor said. Check and balances are important. I think after a long time, we're seeing a Supreme Court who I want to term their decision as being independent, not partisan, not siding with any one person, but going by what the procedure was. There are two significant things they said. They said that due process was not accorded to the people, and that the procedure was wrong. And I think I agreed with the decision. Now, what does it do for the Bwaka government? It lets them know that the Supreme Court is actually waiting, checking them in place and saying, we're watching what you're doing. We're making sure that you're following the laws on the different things that you're doing, and that you're not going to do them because you're in power, but you're going to do them because it's right. So I appreciated that they did that. While initially I did not agree with what happened and how they went about it, but in the end, I think the decision they made, I think it was fair to say that this is not how you should proceed. So you need to go back, proceed accordingly, and then you can do what you want to do.
The Supreme Court has ruled before in similar cases, and so people said this. Does this suggest that tell us that the experienced Bwaka knew what he was doing?
I don't want to say that, because you also have to not forget that the where we are today for 10 years, some of those positions were created during the we at times, some of the things that followed it. So I don't want to say whether experienced Bwaka knows what he wants. I don't think it's about a Bwaka thing. We should not look at it. We should look at it as being the right thing to do, and they did the right thing at the right time, in my opinion.
So what I was asking, maybe I didn't frame it correctly, is like they knew very well the tenure law and the procedure. So if you go to the Supreme Court with that, does it not tell that, come on now, this is so obvious? Why you didn't know this?
Well, they're coming off a government where the president owned all the branches, so they were trying their luck. What should I say?
Thank you. Let me welcome the puppet manager, P. Maurice. It's been a while, Maurice. Welcome.
Yeah, it's been it's been a little while, and it's really good to be back again with all these familiar faces. I feel good about some of the conversation that is happening. I was following. I'm like, no, I gotta join in this discussion tonight. I have some time, so I might as well jump on to participate in the conversation. It's good to see you, brother Mohammed Sharif again. Always good to see you, bro.
Thank you. Let me ask Mr. Sharif, is
Yes, sir.
a colleague from Waplo Institute. Mr.
Yeah,
Sharif,
Waplo Connection can finish it.
It's my favorite school, by the way. So, yeah. Right.
what you make of the Supreme Court decision, and what does it say about the Bwaka administration?
Look, thanks, Dennis, for that question. I am very deeply disappointed in the Supreme Court decision. The fact that the Supreme Court did not strike down tells us that going forward, we have two sets of laws. So these incongruities, if we cannot deal with them at this time, what administration are we looking for? What development? That's what I was looking for. The word I was looking for. What are we looking for now? If Article 56 gives the president the authority over, to public officials serve at the will and pleasure of the president, regardless of which president it is, even Charles Taylor, the people that Charles Taylor appointed, I don't have a problem with people he appointed. And so if you are the president of the republic and you need to advance your agenda, you have to be given the latitude to advance your agenda. But if you have someone from the national lottery sitting there saying that, they're going to serve 5 or 6 years because they have tenure, what are you doing? So what are we doing here? National lottery. Okay, you got people from, telecommunications. So what? What are you doing that you need tenure for? Somebody needs to tell me why these people need this tenure, right? So what I think Bwaka was doing, he is aware, very much aware of what he was doing. And this is what you do as an administrator. You rock the boat. You take this issue to the end. You take it to the level of the Supreme Court so that the court can decide. I will hope, if I'm in this administration, I will advise the administration to take the next level. Go to the legislature and get this thing revoked. We don't need this tenure. This tenure is the offspring, part of the work of the Unity Party government itself. Ironically, Bwaka served in that administration. He was, he was the vice president, but the president, I believe this was, Ellen Johnson's, agenda. And so now, this is all coming home to roost. And this is unacceptable that you have individuals sitting around, calling themselves, tenure people.
Let me interject a bit. That was not the Bwaka's government argument, though. The argument was not like, hey, they are taking away manpower to a point. First, they said, hey, these people, they wore party t-shirts, they violated their tenure. That's why we're removing them. Secondly, the justice minister said we were just trying to scare them.
And so, okay.
So they were not arguing to say, well, this is my right to a point.
So again, you and I are sitting here in the United States on this great forum, and you already know what their argument should have been. I already know what one of their arguments should have been. But because of this issue of, I don't know, should I call it incompetence? A lot of people are incompetent. I don't think those who prosecuted the case on behalf of the government were efficient. These guys, a lot of these guys are inefficient, Dennis. So this was an easy case to prosecute. But if you cannot prosecute this going forward, you're going to have a problem. And unfortunately, Dennis, you have these people that the president have appointed, and some of them really don't know what they're doing. And this is what this boils down to.
Dennis, listen, I know others will come in. And I'm not a lawyer, but I'd like to know what Mr. Sherry's argument would have been for this case.
My argument would have been, go back to Article 56 of the Liberian Constitution. Give the president. These public officials serve at the will and pleasure of the president of the Republic of Liberia, and that is what it should be. Any other laws to the contrary should be struck down because it's incongruent
So you'll be working in exclusion of Article 89, which also gives the legislature.
Victor, hold on. Let me go to Mr. Krumah. I think I get Sherry's point, but that was not their point. So he said the people that argued the case they were not competent, right?
Right.
So I mean, and why should Mr. Bwaka appoint incompetent people? That's for another day. Mr. Krumah.
So I think
the Bwaka administration is losing too many Supreme Court cases. What's going on?
it's a good thing for our democracy. I think we have to establish the separations of power, and I think the Supreme Court is demonstrating its authority as enshrined in the Constitution. We are easily making reference to the Constitution and how things should be happening. I think it's actually a good thing for the JMB team to actually go to court and make the case. If they can't win, the court should be independent enough to say you have not presented a logical argument to be able to favor you in this case. I think that's what the Supreme Court did. But I also want to follow in Brother Sharif's shoes here. I think, the idea of tenure is not an entitlement. I think it was a good idea of establishing some tenure for certain positions, especially when you're setting up anti-graft institutions like GSC, the governance commission, the National Elections Commission, anywhere where you think politics will influence one side over the other. It's good to set up some kind of tenure that roll over administration so nobody can mess with them. But I think people took advantage of it. And so as they were setting up new institutions, they wanted some sort of security for themselves. And so they pushed the logic of having tenure. I mean, if you're regulating telecommunication, what's in that thing that has to do with?
But Morris, let's be fair here. Mr. Bwaka is not getting a rate of tenure. He's only putting his preferred people.
No.
So when we are arguing, hey,
Dennis, I get the point.
Anyway,
in the context of good governance,
right,
tenure is not a bad idea. So what Joseph Bwaka was trying to put in his people versus who were there before, we have to first look at the idea behind it, which
but that's not what President Bwaka is looking at.
Set up.
He's not looking at that.
So, but the point still remains that there is something fundamentally wrong with the entire process.
That's a different argument. Bwaka is not making that argument. That was not the reason why these people were replaced at LTA and other places. So let's deal with that.
So if the Bwaka administration are saying that because the Supreme Court made a decision, we're still going to go ahead and suspend them and continue through the process, we're still operating in a flawed process. That's my argument that I'm making. So if JMB continue to say, okay, the system is there, and the Supreme Court say, I didn't have the legal authority to do this, I'm suspending them, I'm going to do an audit, and the audit will establish some of the facts around allegations of financial misappropriation, and these people that are appointed will go and serve they will act in that role until the investigation is, whatever, establish the facts, and then we'll go ahead and make the appointment. To me, it's still a flawed process. We are just perpetuating a flawed process.
So what does that say about JMB then? What does that say about the administration? Flawed?
I mean, so JMB and the entire administration, just like Joshua and the entire administration, just like Ellen and the entire administration are all Liberians. They are a mirror image of Liberia. All of us are in the same cohort. So it doesn't matter who's in that office. They are Liberians that are there. So you can take.
What does that mean? Mean Liberians are a tainted group of people? They don't respect stuff? When you say they are Liberians, what does that mean?
The culture of corruption is pervasive in the Liberian society.
Thank you.
And so people are selfish. They take, when you give them a small responsibility, they think about themselves and not think about the bigger picture. That's the logic behind it.
Jimmy, Morris is painting a kind of doomsday here. It's like we are all finished. Liberians are inherently corrupt, so we don't expect anything better.
That's correct. Liberians are inherently corrupt. That's correct.
Okay, so when you have a government or state of any kind, you have to have procedures, law, and order. Okay, the Supreme Court is essential for our stability of our country. The Supreme Court is supposed to administer justice by interpreting the law, adjudicating cases, upholding precedent, and ensuring fairness and maintaining independence and impartiality. Okay, they're supposed to promote transparency and accountability. It is a main vein of our in democracy. It's pivotal. Okay, it's a pillar of our democracy. The Supreme Court did not say that the law that they created a tenure position, what they argued, because that was done by the legislature. They argued the procedure by which the president was removing those officials were not proper, and they should go and do it the proper way. That is exactly the kind of ruling you want. Now, I will argue, I've heard the argument that the reason behind setting up tenure position is when a body like the LTA has to go into education, where they have to decide between two different businesses and they have to be a judge and jury at the same time. This is when you want to provide them some insulation and some.
We get that premise. Okay. Let's go to the point. What does this mean for the Bwaka administration?
The Bwaka need to go back and do it right. Now they got two choices.
But why didn't they do it right in the first place? Didn't they know this? Was he ill-advised?
As I've seen in past administration, it appears that there's a lot of competence issues. I want to tell you that even some of those people who are LTA know nothing about law, know nothing about telecommunications. Who knows why they've been appointed? So we see this a lot, okay? And apparently, the advice that given to the chief executive to go and simply remove them without following due procedure was ill-informed. Now we need to examine the people who tell people like that. If it was me and I was misguided by my legal counsel on some issue like that, I would have him removed. But we don't. We allow this mediocrity to settle in. When somebody is wrong, I mean, categorically, principally, everything you can think about, he make a bad decision, then they have to be replaced by somebody more competent. But we don't do that.
Talking about replacement, so the Supreme Court decision came down. President Bwaka in the press release said, we accept it. But guess what? Today, April 26th, this release came out. It says the executive mentioned President Bwaka suspends the chairperson and commissioner of the Governance Commission and appoints acting board of commissioners of the Liberia Telecommunication Authority. Let me read the whole thing for you. Joseph Nyuma Bwakai has suspended Mr. Garrison Yelu, chairperson, and Madam Elizabeth Duncan, commissioner of the Governance Commission, with immediate effect for activities inconsistent with the act creating the institution. I'm reading the press release signed by Kula Bona Ye Fofana. He has further established a committee to investigate the matter and present a report indicating his commitment to transparency and accountability. President Bwaka has asked the suspended officials to cooperate fully with the investigation team, as this is in line with his commitment to fairness, accountability, and justice. The president's actions demonstrate his commitment to upholding the rule of law and ensuring that public officials adhere to the highest standard of ethical conduct. In a related development, the Liberian leader has appointed Mr. Ambula El Kamara, Mrs. Angela Cassell Bush, Mr. Clarence K. Massacre, Mr. Ben A. Fofana, and Mr. Patrick Honda as acting chairperson and acting commissioner, respectively, pending the finality of the General Auditing Commission's audit. The president believes these appointments will ensure continuity and stability in the affairs of the LTA until the final audit report is released. So two things: Governance Commission suspended, the LTA people suspended for corruption. Let me put it that way. There's an audit report and say this audit say this. I did not read exactly which audit and when it was conducted, but maybe you did.
No, it's alleged. It's alleged. There's no evidence to it now. Dennis.
What is alleged?
The president is suspending these commissioners because of an alleged allegation of financial misappropriation.
Right.
So GAC is going to go in and establish all of the facts. And if those facts come out and actually corroborate the allegation, then obviously, they get terminated, they go through the justice system, right, and get prosecuted, blah, 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 so on. But
so why you understand? I mean, let's look at the action of the president. It's like the Supreme Court say you cannot fire these people without due process. So it's wrong. So is the president saying, okay, since the law says I can kill you, I can send you in coma? Is that what's happening here?
No. So the Supreme Court actually said that the process was flawed. The process in which the president nominated was flawed. So they should go back and do it appropriately. Well, they did do it. They did it the way it should have been done. If you ask me, the way this thing played out, it has a very bad.
I mean, they didn't get the due process. They didn't investigate them. They just moved them. Say so.
Yeah. But it ties back to what Brother Mohammed Sharif was saying, that the president has the authority to hire and fire.
Right.
People shouldn't cling on to tenure to protect himself. So if the president has,
I get it.
So the president has the authority.
You can remove them without cause. Right?
Well, no, Dennis. The president. So you diminishing the president authority when you say the president.
No, not the people with tenure. No, Mr. Kerman. If you are tenure, you have to be removed for cause.
Right.
You have
That's what the tenure law says.
Chief.
Not just because you have the power to appoint. No.
Okay. So now the Supreme Court said the president removed them without cause. So because of that procedural error, quote unquote procedural error, go and fix it. So the president said, okay, I'm not removing you, I'm suspending you, and I'm going to conduct an audit of the institution. Because now you want to use the Supreme Court as your support to stay in the position. I am the president, so I can find a way around that.
Right.
But here's the danger of that. The danger of it.
My question is, since I can kill you, I can send you to coma, right?
But so
true, it's possible.
So then it puts our democracy in a blink. People now confused about how do you get around such some of these things. If you don't have a strong court like the Supreme Court we have now, the president could manipulate all of these processes. We saw that many times with we administration. Now you have a Supreme Court that has balls to say, Mr. President, that thing you did was not done correctly. Go back and do it right.
The Chief Justice is a female. She ain't got balls, Mr. Kerman.
It doesn't matter the gender. It doesn't matter the gender, Chief. It's the institution. We have to look at the institution.
Let's get away from those words. Let me welcome Mr. Francis Jabate and the strong Bwaka supporter Aliyu Samba Kamara. Aliyu, I don't want you anyway. You came so late. Why is that? But Aliyu, what do you make of the president's decision to suspend these people and say, well, I mean, just a day, less than 24 hours after he accepted that, after they won the case. Aliyu is frozen. Let me go to Francis.
Yes. Good evening to everybody. Good morning, wherever you are. Okay, so I don't know why people are reading too much into this. The Supreme Court we say we want a country, a rule of law country. The Supreme Court said, okay, Mr. President, you didn't go about things the right way. The people, you can remove these people. And the law said you should remove tenure people with cause. So are we saying that, and I hear most people talking about, it's witch hunt, it's not appropriate, it's not proper. If the president has evidence of crime or something happened, should he say, because the Supreme Court judge ruled in our favor yesterday, so let me just leave my own to God? No. If he has evidence, he has the right to pursue those the evidence and get them out like he did by suspending them. Suspending doesn't mean you are fired. So people should start freaking out and blowing this thing out of proportion. He could have even done it yesterday or the minutes after the Supreme Court ruling that favor. He would still be right to suspend them and investigate the people.
So you splash spaghetti on the wall just waiting for which one will stick?
No, that's not splash spaghetti on the wall. Have you seen his evidence? Have you seen his court? No, none of us have seen it. So
what I mean is he went for this one first. It didn't work, so he's going for plan B.
Okay, I'm not going to defend how this administration is going about things, and you have gone to the Supreme Court twice, and you have lost twice. Or I'm not lost, but they have corrected you twice to tell you to do the right thing. But nobody should come up and say, oh, because the Supreme Court told them, oh, you can't do it this way, so now they should just leave that on with God. No, he did the right thing by suspending it. Now the GSC will investigate. If there is no crime, they go back to work. If there is crime, then what will we be saying on the platform? Oh, thank God the president pursued. Look at how much money Putin was stealing for all. That what we're about to do here. But if there is crime and he didn't pursue it, say, look at the president, he doesn't know what he's doing. They put him committed all the crime, he left them there, and he complained about judge administration. So the president should just do what he want to do. All we hope for, he does the right thing. But we all jack on the platform and made noise, and all social media want to make name for themselves, talking about and the country is divided, blah, blah, blah. The president has the right to suspend people if if you think that people have done something against.
I like to disagree with my brother here, and I will tell him why. I agree with you that the president has the authority to suspend, but in this particular case, where there was already an adjudication by the Supreme Court, he should have allowed them to respond before suspending them. So if there was something pending, some investigation, something suspicious going on, because of the nature of what happened previously, you should have given them chance to respond. And
respond to what?
Let me reclaim my time quickly. I completely disagree with you.
To respond to the suspension. If I suspect you of anything,
let me reclaim my time.
Let me land. Then you can go on. If I suspect you of doing wrongdoing, and I say, look, I'm going to investigate you. I'm about to suspend you because I hear this is wrong. Then you give them a chance to respond before suspending them.
I disagree.
No. I'm sorry, but that is not how things work. I've supervised people before. I've served in the administrative role before. So I know that there are certain cases when you suspend people will pay, one without pay. And when you accuse somebody of something,
this is a government position.
I'm sorry. Let me land my thought.
Hold on, Jimmy.
Me, I gave you time, but let me just complete my time.
Yeah, please complete.
The president has the right to suspend them pending the outcome of the investigation. This is done everywhere in every sector. You can suspend people pending outcome of investigation. If they are found guilty, they don't get paid. If they are not guilty, you return them to that post and pay them. That's it. You don't have to say, "Oh, let's judge a case before I suspend you." No, that's not how it works. If you accuse someone of doing something, violating your policy, you suspend them and investigate them. If they are wrong, you fire them. If they are not wrong, you bring them back and pay them their salaries.
Thank you. Mohammed, yes, the president has the right to suspend, but is this a timing issue here, or is it two things coming side by side, the suspect here, that are just right after the Supreme Court decision when President Bouakai lost, now he's going another route?
Yeah, I just said that I hope the president has plan B, C, and D, and so on and so forth, because this thing is not tenable. The idea that people have to sit around, in a position, in tenure position forever and ever, is not tenable. And so with, some of us on the platform, some, I think I heard Jimmy, you're talking about expediency, but this is political. So the president is making a political decision to ensure that, plan A now has been struck down, but then I go to plan B, which is not unconstitutional for him. So nobody on the forum has said that what the president is doing right now is unconstitutional. I haven't heard that argument. What I'm hearing is that it's not expedient, but that's a whole totally different argument. And so to pick these, heads of public corporations they're not in fact denying that they were corrupt. It would be hard to find one of them who would say, well, I did not indulge in corruption. And in fact, we're hearing that when the police went out there in one of the offices, I think is LTA, somebody was getting away with a laptop. What are you doing with company or official laptop? What are you doing with that in your vehicle, taking that home? What are you doing? These are things that it will be hard to find someone who is not going to be corrupt. And so he's going now with plan B. My thing is, you go to the legislature also, you get this whole tenure thing struck down. So not just in piecemeal in this fashion. I think that it should just be struck down once and for all. And that should solve the problem. The question is, do you have the requisite support in the legislature? I think that his calculation is he doesn't have that right now, which they have to build that coalition or support during the next election or whatever to get the necessary support to strike this down.
But Mr. Sharif, before you give the mic away, the first thing was they violated the code of conduct because they were campaigning. That's why he was removing them. It was not for corruption, right? So I don't know whether he was keeping that other 2 years back to say, okay, if one failed before I use the other one.
No, I don't think it was specific to everybody for campaigning purposes, though. That was not a blanket issue.
Yeah. So why was he removing them? Corruption?
Some yes, and some for campaigning, but that's.
What about the people who were in Nimba over the weekend? Is he going to remove them too?
That's a separate thing from this situation right now. We can't keep mixing everything up.
Oh, that is separate?
Oh, yeah. The people that campaign, let him discipline them. But we shouldn't, that particular situation, we shouldn't try to bring that Nima situation into it because it's separate. It's separate. For him,
let me just
I want to go to Father Washington first. Father Washington, could this be like, first of all, if they were still on the job while the investigation is going on, is the problem with suspending them and replacing them, is that a key here? Is that what makes the big difference? Or they could be on the job and say, hey, we will investigate you, and when you are guilty, we're going to kick you out.
This is very shameful. This is symbolic for the president to make a decision like that. I think this whole thing is pre-planned. The first place the people are in their job, you appoint people to take over their job while they were staying there. And when you made a mistake, the Supreme Court said, hey, go back to where it's supposed to be. Now, right after the Supreme Court said that, you send the 7 people that you appointed before to go and take their job. And then the most shameful thing about it, when somebody is suspended, they're not expelled. They still belong to the institution. And if for a particular reason you don't want them to keep the property of the institution, before they leave the office, you have somebody there to escort them. Go to your office. If you want to leave these things in your office, you don't go and let somebody go into their office, take wherever they need to take, because it still belongs to the institution, the computer still belongs to them, was assigned to them. They come outside, then you call police to come and arrest them. I mean, that's shameful.
But Father Washington, what do you think the president should have done in this situation?
Exactly.
I mean, it can be. You can. One of the brothers just mentioned. You can't suspend. You can suspend pending the outcome of an investigation. There's nothing wrong with that.
No. So this is my point. The president is right, but everything that was done was when I read what on all this.
Just keep moving the goalposts, people.
They used 2 words.
Hold on, Francis.
Fairness, and ethical, and that's why.
Thank you.
There's nothing fair, there's nothing ethical, but it's in his purview to do. But there's no fairness here, and it's not ethical.
In other words, you got to look at the
Can I ask you?
We can get stuff like this.
For something to be fair and ethical, the motive, the intention, and the circumstances must all be fair, must all be clear. And the motive here is not. The motive here is wrong. The circumstance is wrong, and the intention is also wrong.
Is this the first time we've seen government officials being suspended, though?
Thank you. I mean, I don't want this to be the argument. Okay, we are did it, Ellen did it, so let Walker do it.
That is not the
but then is that?
Hold on, let me go to Glendy. Glendy?
So your last point, let me disagree with it first. we're all doing the same thing. We're all making reference to what happened before Supreme Court did this and they said no and what should happen. You have to look at history. What we did it before, that's history. It will be referenced, whether we want it,
No,
to be
it was
referenced
bad
or
when
not.
we did it, so we can.
Well, I'm just
reference it
saying.
as a
I'm just
justification.
saying. It's not something that you can do away without. You can do away with it.
No, I
People
mean
are
it's
also
not the
saying
justification
people
for today's
was
action. That's what I
that
mean.
is not the justification. Hear me
Go
out.
ahead.
That's not the justification. But we're also subjugating here that the fact that Supreme Court gave a decision and 2 days later Barker came after it, and we were supposed to wait. Barker was supposed to wait. Why? Barker could have made that decision the same day. It could have been done 1 hour. It could have even been done simultaneously, because I'm pretty sure he knew that they would not have won this case. So he could have done that. I don't know why we continue to have problem, or why we're having problem, or what is in the prerogative of the president at this time. I feel that what we done, the court said you did not do due diligence. You did not follow the procedure. He said, okay, there's issues here that I've identified, even in the act, in the LTA Act. You can suspend them. You can fire them based on corruption. It's there. Go read it. It's in there. It's clear. So if Joe Barker government is saying we have concerns, we have issues here that's tantamount to firing or suspending them.
But that's not what they're saying, though.
Do that.
Hold on.
Say that again.
That's not the argument they're making.
I'm just saying. You're asking me for my opinion. That's not you're assuming that that's not the argument, because
no, from what I read, that's not the argument they're making.
But we don't even know what all the argument is, because they had just said blanketly or in general that they are suspending them. We don't know specifics. So they've given us a little bit of what they've done, and so we all now have interpreted what they should mean. That and some people are even interpreting it to mean that whatever they found it on them from 2018. This whole thing, they say 60 days they will do investigation. It's an allegation. And for me, like I said earlier today, I think it is so basic and simple. It is simple human resources protocol. When there's an allegation, you suspend pending investigation. What the accusers need to be doing right now is to be making sure that they can defend themselves and that they have issues to prove beyond all reasonable doubt that whatever they've been accused of is not there. But there's nothing wrong, and I don't see where it is, whether it's a government or not. It is simple human resources protocol. You fire somebody, you suspend somebody. You're not going to tell them, say, oh, let a person respond to the suspension before they be suspended. Where have we seen that in the world?
All right. Thank you, Glendy. Let me go to Aliyu. Aliyu, we've watched this movie before, right? We've seen where government use legal agency and institutions to go after people, right? It can be political. So do you understand why people may have some concerns here, Mr. Kamara?
First, let me apologize to you, Dennis. Let me just say you have every...
Oh, Aliyu now.
Yeah, you can take any disciplinary action, you'll be in your right, because I'm fully wrong. But Dennis, remember this. Whenever you wake up in the morning in your village and decide to go on a farm, and you realize that the creek is overflowed as a result of overnight rain, what do, Dennis?
I can swim, or I can cross.
You go back. It's only a matter of time before the water runs lower.
Right.
Then you can go and cross the water and go to your farm.
If you do it rain all night, you even get business going there, because you know especially if you've been in that village and the rain of that magnitude, you know what's going to happen. So you don't even
we didn't measure the rain, so you cannot estimate the magnitude of the rain. Maybe you are sleeping. Okay, but here's the thing.
You are sleeping. That's the right thing. Somebody
right. Because you know the rain, you've been in this village forever. But anyway, you were sleeping. Go ahead.
Yeah. So just because you turn around and win doesn't mean you're not coming back. So that's what happened here, Dennis. So, but listen, there are some things that have me concerned about the decision, not the legality, not the fact that he didn't have the right to do it, but replacing them temporarily or caretaker. I have not understood that part in any unequivocal term. I mean, I don't know, man. We've been working for several years now. When you are suspended, the person next to you is in your place until everything is said and done, and then a decision can be made whether that person replaces you or whether another person is appointed from outside. But the same people from outside who are not in the employ of the agency to replace those that are suspended from the agency. I would need a legal somebody with legal knowledge to explain that to me.
Correct.
But all in all, I think we're making. I think there's more to this thing that actually meets the eye, and I think it's within our purview to discuss it. And so let's discuss it, but let the government do its job.
Aliyu, I like the angle that you come from here. In my view, I don't think there's anything more than what we already know. There's an intent, and I think we have to be honest with ourselves when we look at this thing. I think the government is overplaying its hand. Let's just call a spade a spade. The government is overplaying its hand. We can be demanding accountability and democracy at the same time, trying to bypass it and circumvent the law, just to accommodate our partisans or the people that support us. Because at the end of the day, 6 years from now, there will be some people that will be in the former government, and then we'll be looking at this historical trend and saying, in 2023, this is what Joseph Boakai did, because this is exactly the conversation we're having now about this is what George Weah did. So in my view, I thought when the court made a decision, the OME acknowledged the court's action, there would have been, a way of saying, okay, that's okay. We made procedural error, we accept. I thought the OME would have said, okay, GSC, go in there. People will stay in a position. GSC, please go in there, do an audit of the institutions, and bring the reports. Let's see what's.
But you're getting it wrong, Morris. There's already GSC reports.
Hold on.
Please protect me. Let me finish my point. Then you can give your opinion. That's okay. So if the GSC go and they conduct the audit, they come back with the evidence and all of the facts, and the Labrimpo are aware of that evidence and the facts are presented, because GSC audits are published. They are online. You can find anywhere. Then you can take a legal decision and say, based on these facts of this financial misappropriation, this other violation, my man, come to the executive mansion, come sit and let's talk. This is the evidence that we have against you. You can either resign or we submit you to the Ministry of Justice for prosecution. If you do that with each of the commissioners, you will have an easy transition without any. We're not even having this conversation about.
Exactly.
Hold on, Victor. Aliyu was injecting that there is a GSC audit that already these inconsistencies have been unearthed, right? Is that what you are saying?
Yes, there's already a report that Joseph.
And what is that audit? Because they said they are submitting them to the GSC. So what are they using now to take them out?
Well, the audit that Joseph Boakai used to suspend them, again, what Morris doesn't understand, he thinks that Joseph Boakai is suspending before auditing. No. Joseph Boakai is using an audit that was presented to him, that was presented to the government in 2020. And this audit was done from, I believe it was 2017 and 2018. Both the Unity Party-led administration and CDC-led administration. And with these same guys who are in authority now were also there. So that's the audit. Yeah, but I got to land, man.
We got it. That looks like fishing expedition, right? I mean, to go back to 2020 audit. Anyway.
No. If there was a 2020 audit, that's okay. But the release that came out today says that the executive mansion, the president of the Republic of Liberia, Joseph Nyoma Boakai, has suspended and they gave the names of those people.
But really, there's another document from the president directly. Read that.
For allegations of questionable financial transaction and other misapplication. So when it's an allegation, then you don't have the evidence. You only saying that.
But that's why you investigate.
And then you say GSC should go in.
That's why you're
using historical data as a play.
Because I think GAC is sent there to audit, right?
Let me explain this. Maybe you guys not getting it.
If there is already an audit that found these improprieties, why not use the word?
Then you're not using the word allegation anymore.
Let me explain this, because it seems like we're not understanding the whole thing. The question here is about the suspension of these fellows. What I want you to understand is the suspension of this fellow is not based on a pending audit by the GAC. The suspension of this fellow is based upon documents in front of the government of an audit report, existing audit report. Now, what Joseph Boakai did was to commission more audit, even though these guys have been suspended based on the audit report in front of the president. The president wants to also audit this department. Now, this has nothing to do with the investigation of the audit report that he has in his hand. The audit that he has commissioned is for 2019, 2020, 2021, and up to 2023.
So they send.
So that's to add more. That's to add. Excuse me. That's to add to what he already has. However,
allow me to ask one question.
I will go to Victor now. I will go to Victor and then Francis, because I don't want them to be out of. Go ahead, Victor.
Yeah, I'll be quick. You know, I was agreeing with Mr. Okroma and also Mr. Kamara here, and I was pointing to Glennie that the release that came out of the executive mansion, right? The release is hopeful. There's absolutely nothing in the release that found these people culpable of anything. The release is hopeful. Now you cannot replace people based on hope. Suppose the audit finds that the people did nothing wrong. What are you going to do? Are you going to remove these people you're putting in their place? That's why I agree with Mr. Kamara. Mr. Kamara's point, yeah, I think what the president did by replacing these people is what he should have done at the end of the audit report. When the report comes out and they say this is what we found, then you can consummate the suspension with a dismissal. But all of this is what is president doing. There's so many pressure points that are converging against him.
I got one question. I just want to ask one question.
Jimmy, let Victor answer, please.
So when you put this in context, considering all that has happened, you can't help but to conclude that this president is being vindictive. Father Washington was right that he's not being.
That wasn't my point. Let me be clear about that one. It wasn't my point.
No, I didn't say you as a father. There doesn't seem any degree of fairness in what this president is doing in this particular case, and this is what concerns a lot of us. He is not treating these people fairly. Yeah, he tried to remove them. The Supreme Court said you can't do it. Now he had to go on a fishing expedition just to remove these people. So he's suspending them without cause, without reason, and yet he's replacing them. How does he explain that? How do we explain that?
He said the president has requested a comprehensive audit of the LTA by the GAC to investigate the allegations of the authority.
Thank you. Everything is expressed in that statement. It means that there is something that they've seen and they're asking people to come in and investigate it.
And my other question is, why didn't they use what they had when they went to the Supreme Court?
Correct. They can't, because the Supreme Court did not ask him to present anything. There was a stay order. No. You have to follow the law, Father Washington.
But the argument was that they're trying to scare the people.
No, they were not.
The Supreme Court is not going to ask you to bring your evidence.
But they didn't even have the time to.
The Supreme Court is not going to ask you to bring your evidence.
They asked for a stay motion. They were not going to do it.
Can I ask you a question now?
No, I want Francis to come in.
Yeah, first of all, brother, let me see, Maurice Coman. Initially, you talk about GSC. The president should send GSC in while the people are still there. You can't be investigating me and asking me to present you documents or information that you need to investigate me. So the president already, there can be conflict, temporary with evidence. So the person suspended, remove the person, and then you investigate and separate it while going through the office and asking them questions for information that you need to complete your investigation. That's how it's supposed to be done, and that's how it's going to be done. But then,
can I interject a little bit?
I can't hear Dennis, guys.
Is there a difference between audit and investigation? What is it that the president trying to accomplish here? Is he trying
there's
to
a difference.
or audit?
An audit, you're setting about to find something out. If you, investigation sounds to me like there's an indictment.
Victor, audit is not an indictment. Audit is not an indictment.
Take the flow.
Francis is implying that because you're auditing, you are indicting. You're not indicting. You just want to find.
I want Francis to answer that question, and then you can go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I get the whole thing here. I want to play word salad and stuff like that. Audit investigation. We all know what's going on here. Just like you guys want to assume.
We're playing word of mouth. That's what we're playing.
Just it's word of mouth, because none of us here have evidence of anything. We all are just presenting our opinions on what's going on. So yeah, word of mouth, you're right. So, but what I'm going to say here is this.
No, but it's not. You are they investigating or are they going to audit? Because if there's already allegations, you investigate. Why are you going to audit again?
All right, we want to play with words. Okay, that's fine. It says audit, right? The president sent information to GSC, said, this is why I'm suspending these people. Go and look.
But then why do you replace them right away? It means you're concluding that they're wrong.
Are their replacement permanent?
What?
Are their replacement permanent?
More than that, I don't know if the
No. Please answer the question. They're putting false information out there. Let the report listen to us. So please be fair with them. Are the replacement permanent?
Is the motive?
If they are found guilty, if they are removed, those will be the people that will replace them.
Okay,
right?
no. You just said if they are. But I want Mr. Victor Nangme to tell me, are the replacement permanent?
I don't know that, but here's what I know. I don't know that.
All right, let me take my time back. That's why we should stop this thing. Let's stick to what we know. Don't be talking about he suspended and why he replaced them. No, the vacuum is there. He said, okay, John Paul replace this person. It could be a temporary replacement. As far as I know, it's a temporary replacement. You can suspend somebody and replace them. You can't do that in any organization. So the people are there filling in to get the job of the Liberian people done while the investigation go on. That's fine. If they are found not guilty, they can come back to that position. They'll start putting this thing out there to the Liberian people like, oh, President Parag, how you suspend people and you replace them? They are not being replaced. We can't do this to our people that are listening to us.
Okay. You were talking about passing words. That's exactly what you're doing, right? They've been replaced, but you are saying it's for a temporary period.
No, I'm asking the question because if they were officially replaced, then they have gone through the, let's say, whatever process and sitting there. Whether the suspension is whether they are guilty or not, they're not coming back. We don't. None of us on the platform know that. But when I keep saying why they replace them, it's a vacuum. The Liberian job got to continue. So the president figured these people he's sending there to work, they should continue the Liberian people work.
So
let's see when the investigation is over and they are found not guilty and they can't be replaced and they can be put back to that position, then we can come back here and talk about what the president did was wrong. But there's nothing wrong with suspending people and replacing them with somebody until the investigation is over.
Can I make a quick
Let me go to Mohammed. Mohammed is quiet. Mohammed.
No, but I was talking here. You told me to hold on. Let him finish.
You were answering.
Yes. No, what I wanted to point out was this, and Mr. Krumah already pointed this out. If you're going to do the replacement, Mr. Jabate, you promote the people within the agency to act in their place. You don't bring people outside.
Is there any rule against that?
Very good.
But it's not said in
Is there any rule against that, Mr. Nangme?
Hold on, Francis. Let him finish. Go ahead.
So more than that, the president is replacing these people with the same very people he appointed that he intended to replace them by before they even went to court.
That's the most.
That's not the point, though. That's not the point.
Hold on, Francis. Let him finish.
So the point I'm making is now that he's gone ahead and brought in people from outside and replaced these people, and my question is: suppose the audit is over and nothing is found, so what is he going to do with these people? He's going to send them back to where they came from?
The audit will be for 6 years. After 6 years, they will go to the
That's the motive.
Mr. Sharif, Mr. Sherry, let's get this one right.
Right.
It said the replacement that really is unnerving here. Let's say, and we know some of them are parties are UP people, right? These are tenure positions. And what we are, the intent of this whole tenure is for transparency, accountability. These people be free from any undue influence. But if you replace people with your partisan or people that support you, like Patrick Honda, I think 2 of them were former UP representative or senator, right? So is it a concern here that, well, you've made a point consistently that, this whole tenure business, but if you are robbing Peter to pay Paul, people will be concerned, correct?
Yeah, Dennis, look, I always talk about, competence and incompetence. Look, how long we've been talking on this show? You're supposed to be superintendent of Sino County, as far as I know.
Don't remind me, I lost that job.
Look, if you have gone down there, I would have resigned my job tomorrow morning and joined you for free. And that's how, they would have gotten.
I had a massive plan already laid out. And if I get the opportunity to talk to the president, I'll just lay out. Let somebody come and steal my idea. I don't care. Do it. Go ahead.
Right. But yeah, so, on a real serious note on this issue, so that's one of the problems that I have. I don't have a problem with all this different procedure that people are talking about, because tonight, no one has said what the president is doing right now that is illegal. But what I also look at is that, if you're replacing these people, you want to replace incompetence with competence, right? So you want to have people in there who can really do the job. So if it's just going to be the same old, then that is troubling. So if that's what our discussion is going to evolve to, then I have a different opinion, because I believe that you should replace competence with incompetence, because we know that people that George Weah appointed, a lot of them were incompetent. And this is the issue. I think that what I thought from the beginning was that this is what Bwaka, President Bwaka is trying to break through, right? He's trying to break up, this whole cabal of incompetent individuals. But some of the replacement, I don't know for sure if some of these replacements will meet those expectations that I have. So for that reason, I have some concerns. That being said, I don't have
advice. I know all of them personally, so talk offline. Okay, each other profile. I know all of them.
Yeah, I'm going to give it here because we're talking telecom here.
Yeah. Let me come in 1 minute.
I don't know why.
No, let Mohammed complete his thought.
Yeah.
Because
so yeah, that's what I was saying. And so as far as what the president is doing right now, no one is saying that this violates this constitution. Even Victor, what you're saying is that yes, ordinarily you will have the next person in line to come up, but he doesn't have to follow that procedure, right? He can bring anybody from anywhere. He can bring you. He can bring you from the United States and say, you're going to be, the acting director until, pending this investigation.
I was talking contextually.
There's an issue.
We saw when the eminent people went to NASCAR. I mean, we are not discussing this thing in vacuum. President Walker has not done well replacing these people with. I mean, when we heard of ombudsman, who were we thinking? When we heard asset recovery, who were the people we were thinking?
Right.
Justice minister. When we heard of Supreme Court bench is empty.
Again,
we've seen some of these eminent people go in there and say, "Hey, give us the job."
Yeah. And I agree with you on that. I agree with you on the fact that some of these appointments have been very questionable. How many times have I said this? I mean, 10,000 times I've said that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Internal Affairs, all these different people that were put in position that don't know what they're doing. And so we've talked about that, and I'll continue to talk about that. But as far as breaking up this tenure, as far as breaking, striking this whole thing down, I think he has to be very aggressive, more aggressive than this even, to make sure that tenure goes away. This tenure is not tenable for Liberia, believe me, because if this continues, the president is not going to successfully drive his agenda. And that is a problem.
Marty, let me come in there for a second.
Respectfully disagree with
Dennis, don't let the political analysts dominate the show, man.
I want Glendy to talk before you, or Alio.
Okay.
Glendy will come right after you. I know you like Glendy business.
So I need to say something on this thing. I don't know why you keep leaving me out. But
okay, go ahead, Washington. You are right. It's then Glendy, then Alio.
I've been waiting forever to say something again.
Yeah.
Okay, let Jimmy go ahead before me. I'll go after. I'll go after.
You know, this is not a supervisor position or something like that. Somebody was alluding to they suspend people. No, we have to be careful of the optics here. We're talking about a nation, and there are political overtures involved here. And if you don't proceed with due caution, you will erode your authority and your fairness. It is you have to do, when you're dealing with people of this magnitude in a nation, you have to watch the optics. These things what you see going on, people are forming conclusions in their mind. You appoint this man, you withdraw him, you send this man there, he doesn't. All these things are forming impressions on people. You are slowly eroding your efficiency and your authenticity. People going to have different impressions. This is why I say he can replace it, but do it in a way that people will feel you went to due process and you are fair because of the optics involved here and the political overtures underneath all of this. I'm hearing on Monday there may be even some more things we're going to hear from the CDC. So we have to be careful.
CDC opposition, everything so they can protest.
Washington.
They should protest.
Right.
I mean, that's where I come in, I mean, we can keep saying, he's not doing anything that's unconstitutional. He has the right to do what he has to do. I agree. But hey, in as much as he has that right, there's also the dignity of the human person. There's dignity of labor. You have to show respect for somebody who works under your authority. So you don't just go and just have a motive. The person already made a mistake. Try to correct the mistake. You keep making more mistakes over and over. And I think that's what is happening. The first place, these people already had a tenure position. You never investigated. You never asked questions about how they didn't know, and you appointed people there. So you appointed these people now, they are waiting in the air and you want to have them get in there, but you don't know how to go about it. So you go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, no, this is not the way to go. So you get back, instead of also taking your time again to investigate and go through the right way, you suspend people just because you want these people to go in there. And like what Victor said, I mean, yeah, he can do whatever he wants to do, but I mean, from where we come from, if you suspend people, you don't just go bring somebody from outside and you already had a motive for appointing to just kind of put them back. So you just replacing the same people. So for me, I think that's what I said from the beginning. The motive, the intention, the circumstances are all wrong. So that's no fairness. It's not ethical. It's not fair. And that's where we come from. I mean, constitutionally, yeah, he can do that. But hey, but you also respect people as they go to work. You respect them because even though you employ them, but they also have a right. And that's the right. For me, I think that's where I come from.
And Glendy, this is not new, right? This is the cry we're crying on Judge Weah. Judge Weah made similar attempts. And we were here saying all kinds of things against Judge Weah. President Walker is doing the same thing, and we want to nuance it.
So you're comparing. You say you're not comparing, but you're actually comparing. You're comparing six.
No. The comparison you did was since we did it.
No, I didn't say that. I said no, Dennis, no. What I said was there is no way you can have people to conversate about politics in Liberia and not talk about what Josh Weah did. I'm not saying, I am not of the premise that because Weah did it should be done. But here you are who don't want us to say it. You constantly referring. No.
You shouldn't.
You're constantly referring because you're sitting here.
So Walker should suspend.
You're sitting here.
This should not be the justification. That was my point.
No. I will still say what you're trying to do. You're trying to say It's
Blaming
okay
you,
to
you're just
compare.
trying to
It's
find a
okay
way
for
out
me
of
to
the
say
question
it.
I asked you. That's all you're doing.
No.
You're just trying to find a way not to answer what I asked.
I will answer you. You know I will
Well,
answer
go
your
ahead.
question. You know I will answer, but let me finish.
Okay.
It's my turn, right? So I don't run away from answering questions.
Okay.
Right or wrong, I will answer it. But you can't say that you're holding Boyka accountable in 100 days for a government that led in 6 years and did nothing. 6 years. We're talking about we are doing this thing over and over. It was it was what English was say, repetition over repetition. It was a complete repertoire over and over. Nothing changed. But yet we're expecting Boyka, yes, and they've made lots of mistakes in the 100 days. They have. I've been a critic too of those things they've done. Hiring people, firing them, doing this and doing that. But we cannot sit here in clear conscience and expect a Joseph Boyka government to perform at 100% where George Weah government had 6 years and did the same thing. Give me a break. George Weah had all 3 branches in his pocket. What are you telling me? You're telling me about a Supreme Court under George Weah government? Have we ever seen a Supreme Court ruling in the last 6 years that was independent, that you have Liberian people even praising them for? Come on, let's be real here. Boyka government, they've made some mistakes, some serious mistakes they've made. But I'm not going to compare them to what Weah government did and it strangulated the economy of Liberia and the country.
So that argument it defeats the whole purpose of the UK government.
I'm just saying.
Everything just
we can.
Hold on.
You know what?
Hold on.
Let me count the number of men here tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm the only woman.
There's not about that.
I'm the only woman. Let me speak. Y'all don't beat me up. I'm in the minority. So let me have my say.
That minority bit that you talking
Yeah,
about.
I was talking about.
You know you can rest assured you get all the love here tonight. You will.
Yeah, but on a serious note, yes, there have been mistakes that they've made. I think it's a salient point that when you see it makes the decision look unfair when we're seeing those same people who were appointed to the position, all of this stuff being appointed again. Father Washington, let me speak up. Now 1 woman here versus 8 men.
No.
When you see this is happening, I think that one is concerning. I think it should not have happened with what they've done, but it is within the prerogative. We can complain, we can disagree with what he's done, we can speak against it, but it is within his prerogative, and all we can do is say the way you proceeded in this one is not right, and we will call that out.
All right, let me ask again. President Weah did the same tenure issue. We have problem with it. President Boyka is doing it now. What do you say?
I just answered your question. Yeah, I just clearly answered you, but you weren't listening to me. I just answered you. I said the fact that President Boyka had those people already assigned to the position prior to this whole court thing, after the court now brought those same people back, it is not right. I just said that clearly, but you were not listening to me.
You didn't say that clearly first. That's what I was
asking. And that just
I just said it here. I don't know what you're listening to.
Thank you.
She said it.
That was that piece of the question, but I get it. We haven't go to Leo.
He said piece of the question again.
Yes, I'm still here. I'm still nothing. I stay here, yo.
Yes, sir.
Ali will come before you. Go ahead, Ali.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So by the way, Dennis. Okay. Anyway, by the way, Dennis, you're fully aware that my uncle is well qualified. He ran that institution and was audited by the European Commission every year, and there was not one blemish.
Who was your uncle now? I don't know your uncle.
One of the people Boyka sent over there. But anyways, let me just say this. When I talk about being in limbo as to how that switching was done with people from the outside, again, I am not saying that Boyka was wrong or right. And I'm just retrospecting into the Constitution. Can we try to understand Article 56 maybe? Maybe if somebody has some real legal understanding of the interpretation of that portion of the Constitution, maybe it gives Baka the right to decide where he take employee from. So, like I said, I just need some clarity on that part. But I think we are blowing too much trumpet than we need to on this issue. When they say election has consequences. When you decide to make someone your president and a law give them a certain authority, well, it is within their domain to exercise the authority.
No, it's not.
No,
No.
that's
We
something.
will stop you if it's going astray. We will. It doesn't mean when you get elected,
I
you
said
just
the
do it. All
law, if he has the authority,
No.
and he does have the authority.
And the right authority.
Thank you. Let me read something from a lawyer, Anthony Konyene Fremont, who cited, in fact, he's taking a step further. He said, since President Bouaka took office, he's committing is violating the Constitution.
He's not credible. Fremont is not a credible guy.
All right,
please.
So you can he's talking law here, so you can respond. And
Bring another lawyer. He's a partisan lawyer.
He said he has violated the Constitution by setting up a committee of senators to manage appointment of executive officials, a violation of Article 3 of the Liberian Constitution. 2, he is constructively rendering meaningless a decision of the Supreme Court, another violation, separate and co-equal branches of government. 3, he's violated multiple statutes of the tenure position. The Supreme Court has just told him he's in violation of the law and must withdraw his nominees. Now he's angry and has chosen to brazenly undermine the court. This is a whole new level of illegality. He twice offered to bribe members of the national legislature to vote his choice of speaker, to consolidate forces for a possible removal of the House Speaker. He's violated the budget law and the public financial management law by incurring $20 million in government debts. He's violated the public procurement law by supporting the Ministry of Public Works to a war contract worth $20 million. He violated the Local Government Act 2018 by appointing people to positions they should be filled by county provisional authorities. He's connived with his chief of staff to solicit funds from Social Security Office to purchase vehicles without the disclosure and without legislative approval. He violated the Code of Conduct Act by declaring his asset well outside the period provided by statute. He violated LACC and FIA Acts by will, ascribing their functions to a bunch of UP zealots under the guise of asset recovery, and he went on and on and on. Before I bring in our guest, I want Francis to react to Anthony Konyene.
He's a propagandist.
You see, this is the problem with the justice system in Liberia.
Lawyers should not be propagandists. They should be credible people. They should speak to the law. They should be.
And I can't even believe Dennis, you actually took the time to read that trash.
He should not be a propagandist. I'm appalled by what he has written. It's shameful. It is
but
shameful.
Is what he writing materially infactual?
It's in fact, it's even biased that he has chosen to write this now.
You can't even,
That's a shame.
There's nothing there to process. I don't even know why Dennis read that thing.
Why he read that thing? For this credible news agency.
But the man is reading facts.
What facts? Lawyers should not be propagandists.
Didn't Grisbet take money from NASCO to buy cars?
He's a propagandist. He's a propagandist. That one issue you're talking about, read everything else he said. Since Dennis want us to be reading class, read the whole thing.
But he said Bouaka connive. Don't
sensationalize what Dennis has read and pick out words.
Well, I want you to tell me what part of this is not true. That's what I want to hear.
So let's do one by one. So Dennis is telling you read the whole thing. Let's do one by one. So we can debunk everything.
He's a propagandist.
If you give it one by one, we'll debunk every single point.
Yes.
I also agree.
Francis.
Then the following minister award $21 million without budgetary approval.
Huh? You say
no, that's incorrect. That's
the following white minister.
He did not award 20.
Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence of that?
They don't get the money. They don't get the money. So
you can't take social media
before the budget was approved
and base your argument on it. Social media.
No, it's not social media. I listened to the minister himself.
Okay, Francis, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say, but like I said, that's the reason why people don't get justice in that country. And even if you hire a lawyer, you gotta be careful who you're hiring, because for that guy to just come and put a list up there, I mean, I don't think he even care about his credibility in Liberia as a lawyer.
He doesn't have one.
That is shameful for him to come up with that list of lies. List of lies. It's just what kind of lawyer is that? Nobody. I think somebody said CDC lawyer, so I agree. I swear he come from. That's how much I have to say about that. It's embarrassing.
Thank you.
But that says nothing, though.
Victor, go ahead.
I want Dennis. I don't really want to anything. I want my colleagues to dispute one by one.
Okay, conniving to buy the car. Do you have evidence that Barker connived with the chief of staff?
The president.
Don't just use words. Be specific. Conniving with his chief of staff. Do you have evidence that President Barker connived? Don't just say he connived with his chief of staff. Do you have evidence that President Barker, step A, connived with his chief of staff, step B, to Barker? Do you have that evidence?
It's like,
okay, are you done? Because I don't want you to interrupt me when I'm talking. I don't want you to interrupt me when I'm talking.
The contract, the public minister was on another platform, and he broke it down. Everybody read what they say. They say he said they say, and he broke out down how he awarded contract. The list is too long to know everything.
All right, Francis, I want to bring in color. So after Victor, there will be Morris.
No, I just wanted to say, first of all, we know that even while President Weah was in office, the president chief of staff was soliciting money to buy cars for the inauguration. That's not a lie.
The word is connive. The president connived with the chief of staff.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Francis, you have to wait. Let the man make it fun, Francis.
Yeah.
Let him speak, and then Morris, and then we bring in the colors.
So the counselor is, I mean, maybe some of the stuff that you may dispute, but what I'm not getting is I'm not getting anybody disputing what they see as lies on what he's enumerating. All of them he's talking about, that's we all been talking about most of them here. And I guess he
asked you one question. Did he connive with Griffith? That's
one
question he asked you.
Did he reprimand him?
Did the president? No. Answer that first.
Did the president reprimand him?
No. Answer the question. Did he connive with Griffith? Do you have proof that
let's
was
talk about governance. If Grisby requested vehicles when President Weah was president, if you conduct an audit, would that be on the JMB administration or the George Weah administration?
I don't know.
Honestly, let's be honest. No politics. Let's be honest about it.
Yes.
It means George Weah and his people colluded to actually get this process done. Do you agree or not?
No, I don't. I don't agree.
Okay. So you trying to get away, but this is the reason why.
No, I'm not trying to get away.
Dennis, this is the reason why you can't take that kind of man writing and read it out like this, because there's so much emotion into it. We can process it and look at it and say, okay, Grisby was only an advisor to the president-elect. He was not even appointed at the time when he requested support for vehicle to move, gas here and there. In actual reality, it is the government that is in office that facilitated inauguration. It's not the incoming government. So if you actually take that context and say, okay, let's investigate this thing and see where did it actually happen, we'll go back to the Weah people and say, why did you allow this amount of money to leave the Social Security to support this behavior? This person is only quote unquote advisor to the president-elect. He has no authority. How do you make such an argument? And then Dennis got the audacity to come and read it on this platform. And you
tell me about it, man.
Beautiful platform. It's preposterous. This is the reason why some of us say, you know what, let's stay away from all this conversation, because
nothing in writing that makes sense.
I'm disappointed.
So
unfortunate.
Morris, calm down. Calm down. You're trying to. I know what you're trying to do, but this is
what about?
That is because people
psychologists now, so you're reading my mind. Like, you already know what I'm trying to do.
Some people say, I mean, you are.
I think Councilor Fumo was even being generous. We didn't even mention Mandela Cooper herself admitting that even before the came into office,
you're trying to butter up.
She sourced our money to complete the VIP lounge at the RIA. He didn't even mention that. Is that too, or is that okay?
Victor, the privileged information you provided to us, we don't know about that.
No, I'm just standing here with baby out.
Hold on, gentlemen. We got to go to our colors. Let's bring in some colors here. Morris trying to be music. He said, "Oh, you're not even supposed to read that. What you read on this beautiful platform?" Then I get scared. Oh, let me take it back. But that's his opinion. I bring it forward for you to understand because he participates here. He should have even been here tonight. But the lawyers are coming on Sunday to discuss the same issue. So that's why I'm reading your opinion so you can react. And
the next time you bring that lawyer, please bring me on. I'm begging you, then so he and I can have the conversation about that trash he just wrote. I will trash everything. It's debunk everything because there's so much emotion there. No evidence on whatsoever that you're talking about.
All right, let me bring in some callers here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to join the conversation, the number is on the screen there. It's scrolling, so please call. In the meantime, we have 2 callers ready. Let your calls come. The first is Mr. Elvis Morris. Elvis, you are live. Oh, sorry, Elvis. My bad. I didn't unmute you. Go ahead, Elvis. You're live.
All right. Again, thank you, and hello to the panelists.
And 1 minute each, please, guys.
Yeah, thank you. I don't appreciate Morris Kumar attacking my favorite panelist on this platform. The lawyer stated adequately and eloquently all the things that President Boyka is doing wrong. And the Supreme Court tended to agree with his assertion. So for me, with this whole thing about the suspension, like you guys were kind of touching on it a little bit, the problem is the replacements. If you get suspended at your job, I've never been suspended at my job, but if you get suspended at your job, and the next day you see somebody working in your position in your office and doing your work, effectively that means, especially somebody from outside, not just somebody who was either your subordinate or your boss coming to take over your responsibility as a completely new hire, they have effectively fire you. So more than likely, you know that you're not going to be coming back to that position. So if somebody is replacing you and they're taking your position and then you're being investigated, investigation is not established evidence. So if you can go through an investigation and find a person innocent, you can go through an investigation and find him guilty. The investigation, the conclusion of that investigation will determine whether that person keeps their job or not. But by replacing them and putting somebody new in that job, you're effectively saying that they're being replaced.
Thank you.
This is why President Boyka, I told you on the show on Wednesday that we will see what he does after this rule, because up to that point he hadn't done anything wrong. He went to court, the court ruled. Now his response to the ruling would be what would determine whether he's being lawless or not. And he's trying to circumvent the court ruling, and that's not something he should be doing. And that's what the lawyer was calling out. So Morris, I don't know why you're taking such a strong man stand against the lawyer, but I know you're a financial guy. If you want to argue law, maybe you should come on the show on Sunday so we can see your legal
thank you.
Other people I want to show on something. But thank you for taking my call.
And I'm wondering too what, because if LTA people go back to the Supreme Court, I'm looking forward to how that's going to play out. Let me bring in our second caller here. Is Kalebo Gonglo. Go ahead, Mr. Gonglo. You have a minute.
Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. I'm not listening to Morris, Glendy's, and Francis. And of course, I'm not surprised at your Kamara. But the statement you read, it's kind of interesting that Morris. I would emphasize Morris Kumar because I know him and I have so much respect for him. He will actually even chastise you for reading the statement from Anthony Wonderfilm. I think what the guy said there, I'm not even going to try to repeat most of what he said, but just look at the Supreme Court opinion on this case. The action of the government, I don't want to say President Boyka, he takes the blame, but let's say the action of the UK government. It's a figure on a man of rule of law. There is a Supreme Court opinion on the case that I'm going to search and give you this, Dennis, that removal and suspension are the same. Because effect of suspension and removal are the same. There is a case that the Supreme Court made that ruling on, and I'm going to research and give you. So the other thing I want to say to you also is, Dennis, I get the activist mentality of President Boyka on this matter. because he wants to get his cronies at LTA. I don't like the guys at LTA. LTA is a cash cow in government, and everybody who has worked there, they know that. They do nothing. They have no technical ability. They sit there and steal money. Go to GSC audit report of 2018. So that they suspended today were not even there. I think probably Asia Arkansas probably was there, but the rest of them were not there. They were just.
Abdullah Kamara was there. Abdullah Kamara has been there.
I will end on this, Dennis. I wish the activist mentality of the president towards undermining the highest court of the land. I wish you would have the same activist mentality to have undermined the magistrate decision on Lucas. When the magistrate decided to frequently violate the right to even life, the president would have even used immigration to stop Lucas from leaving the country. But he was not activist on that one. He's activist on this one because his cronies are going to go and get money.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gonglo. Let me bring up Flomo Livingston. Flomo said this platform is turning into a joke. Go ahead, Flomo. You're live.
Yeah. Mr. Jackson, for me, I'm very happy. No, that thing was really complete trash. No, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a freedom. I want more cases equal than more. So how that can be credible? That can show me that that's a good lawyer. So the president is a right issue. I don't get someone people what. When I play, I'm not here for fee, I have to go fee. No matter I don't care about fee when it comes to the truth. No, those guys was suspended pending investigation, and the people are appointed. They are acting. They are not replacing them. They are acting until the investigation is completed. I don't want to go. With people on the other side, ANC and TDC. No, let's get the president inside to investigate those guys. When we're talking about the court, we're only talking about the those guys have broke so many laws, like the government commission.
Right.
He was campaigning technically for Jomia. He's the man. And the code of conduct. He did that. But we not people doing that. But we couldn't sign for the further of taking action. That's people doing that. But we always wait like that. We don't discuss about the cost. And I'm not bringing that up. And I'm not going to.
So, Flomo, the people he replaced them with at LTA, do you think they are qualified?
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, I don't know that qualification. I'm not going to say that they are qualified. I already know about that. I know I think I'll be corrected. I don't know if they are qualified or not. So I would say they're not qualified. I would say they're qualified. Because I know some of them to work there before. I don't know. I'm not going to say that they are qualified.
But will it matter if they are qualified or not?
I hope they are qualified. If they are qualified, it doesn't matter to me because you should be the president of authority to appoint.
So whether they are qualified or not, it doesn't matter. Thank you. Thank you, Mama. Everybody get their opinion, and my opinion. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me bring in Perkins. Perkins, you're live.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Ja, and to the rest of the panelists. First thing, this lawyer who notes of writing you just read, I don't know him. So a lot of people are saying that he's not credible. All right, no problem. If you know him personally and he hasn't been credible with a lot of issues, that's fine. But the paper that he read, the facts that he listed, can you dispute those things? They did not happen. Let us discuss them, whether they happen or not. Now, apart from that, towards the Tenure issue, the one thing I really want to know actually is when did the president realize that the officers, the suspended officers, when did he realize that they were involved in the wrongdoing? Right? Because if he knew that they were already in the wrong, he would have probably suggested investigation towards that first before even trying to replace them or fire them. So if the Supreme Court will have ruled in the president's favor and say, okay, president, you got it right, go ahead and fire these guys. So that means the president is going to fire these guys without any investigation. So they will apparently be getting away with a possible crime. Because that was the initial plan. Now he wanted to fire them. So if the Supreme Court says, yeah, go ahead and fire them, that means you are going to forget about investigating them and finding out a possible crime. Number 3 is, if this president is serious about bringing change into Liberia, he will be soliciting the vote of the representatives through the speaker. The speaker has clearly stated that he is willing to support the personal agenda, the agenda that is in the interest of the people. So what you want to do, if you really want to bring change, is to solicit vote from the House so that this whole tenure thing can be getting away from. Right. But you cannot want to fire a tenure person, but then put in your own tenure person. Then say yes or now, the next person move their own tenure person and put in their own tenure person. What change is that?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's the concerning part. This tenure thing where MCSS people that tenure, even library that tenure, everything that tenure. I mean, make superintendent tenure now, so when I get to sign over, you can't move me.
Dennis.
Let
me bring in Mr. Darling Warwood. Darling, your life.
Thank you for having me, Dennis. So let me say this. I said this from the very inception of this government that I have no expectation of Bouaka and his lieutenants. Because these are not new people. These are people that have been in the corridor of our political system for over 5 years. I mean, 5 years. Bouaka has lost control of the agenda. In the last 3 months, he has not been able to actually produce anything. He has not been able to bring anything forth to the Liberian people. The promises that Bouaka made, he has not been able to deliver anything whatsoever. And so what is he doing? He's using what we call diversionary tactics, rare meat, like asset recovery, illegal way of doing it. Appointing his finding with appointing cheerleaders to positions. Like, this guy is serious about change. Why is Councilor Bongo? Why is he not bringing Councilor Bongo on board? Why is John Molu? Where are these credible people? Instead, it's one misstep after another. Where is the wealth of experience that Bouaka and people were bringing to the presidency? All I see around is incompetence. This is not this. And I want to say to the Liberian people, Bouaka and others have always been a source of the Liberian people problem. Bouaka has been and is part of the problem in Liberia. How can you trust the source of your problem to solve your problem? That is laughable. This is one of the biggest mistakes Liberian people ever made in the existence of our country. Bouaka is part of the problem in Liberia. You can't trust the source of your problem to be the solution of your problem. No.
Thank you. I mean, I was hoping for a call, and since I didn't get a call, so Joseph,
the superintendent just stay open, my man.
Yeah, how we doing, my brothers and sisters?
I read. Hold on, Joseph. The people they appointed in my area, my district called Jirepo District. Some of the villages that they are calling cities now. I said, does he know these people? I mean, I have never been in government to make those appointments, but I think Grand Crew has more cities. I mean, every 3 houses are city. Even in my place, when they are calling some of the names, and even the names are fake. I'm like, who is giving this information to the president? Something got to be done with our system. Something needs to happen. This is not right. I mean, how can you get a little village and you say city, they got magistrate, they got this person, and they
got caller on the line?
Nothing.
Right.
Oh, Mr. Colley, go ahead.
Yeah, how we doing?
Good.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. I know the Unity Party people on the problem there, Mr. Sharif, Morris, and the Francis, and Mr. Kamal are resurrected. I know you are in Holland. Now you fucked up. We can't see you. You are not wearing cap, but man, some of the campaign, now you're wearing cap. And so, you know, what is this, man? After you come here to circumvent the law, this old man was the same one that signed to that document for that other position.
And now he's coming here to want to change people. You forcibly move the people. When you were wrong, the people went to the court. The higher court tell you, say, my man, you were wrong in doing this. Now you come back and you say, oh, in fact, okay, the man stole for me. What kind of injustice is this? That no justice we're trying to run in Liberia? We need to be fair to our people. Don't come sit on the platform here and start sharing our about talk. You know you're wrong. The court revoke your decision until you say, look, my man, you are wrong. What you did is wrong. Plain and blank, in black and white. When you come, the same people that the court you say you were wrong in moving there, then you say, oh, my man, y'all stole from me. Is that how we want to run Liberia? We need to be fair to our people. We shouldn't come sit down here and start running around the place. If we don't start with ourselves, the country will not be straight. We in the diaspora, we sit down here and try to play on the money of the people. Then you people sit down here and start talking. And so come back. It's good. Because I know you're right. You are not saying you again. Now you come to defend your party. But it's good.
Thank you.
Liberia, man.
Thank you. And he's sitting in the darkness with cap on, so when I see your face. William Jala, you'll be the last caller.
Hi, Dennis. Yeah, thanks for having me. And hi to your wonderful panelists. I called because you have one Victor number on your show. I think he happens to be one of your panelists.
Yeah.
He said something that is he said something that is very inaccurate about the public works minister Roland Giddens. I listened to that interview with Roland Giddens. He said Roland Giddens spent money that he didn't even receive. How do you work with someone, who wants for people to believe him, sit on a platform like your platform to deliberately mislead the public, the audience? But I get it. I totally get it. I know why. Because he's one of those people who has this deep-seated bias towards President Bouakai and his administration. And so he sees nothing good.
Why do you think so?
With that administration. What? I listen to Victor Nambe all the time. I'm an ardent follower of your show, Denise. All right? I am an ardent follower of your show. There isn't anything much that Victor Nambe would say about the Bouakai administration without having to criticize the administration. Even if the administration does something good or right.
Yeah.
Is that how you for like wrong?
Thank you.
And you want to say you want for people to believe that you are credible when you give them information, and you will put on a platform and deliberately lie to the people. How can Roland Giddens spend money that he did not even receive?
Right.
And you want us to believe you? Really?
Thank you.
Some of you guys need to do better, man. And stop trying
I think you need to give Nangbe a chance to respond.
So, Mr. Jala, don't hang up.
There are more calls that call my name than they call Victor Nangwe. My name was almost in almost every single call.
Stay on the line, Mr. Jala. I am sure.
Hold on, Mr. Nangwe, so you talk for himself.
Yeah, I am sure you will admit if you say you are an ardent follower of the show. I recognize the president's effort to constitute the War and Economic Crimes Code. I'm sure you forgot that. When the president set up the Asset Recovery and Retrieval Program, I also said that was a good move. I'm sure you conveniently forgot that. What I will not do is to follow people of your kind who will shower this president with praises that he doesn't deserve. When he does well, I will say it. When he doesn't, I will proudly say it as well. I got nothing against this president. I want my country, Liberia, to succeed. That's what I'm after.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Kuruman.
I want to follow Victor's suit as well. I think some of the callers did not hear me when I criticized the process in which this whole LTA arrangement had happened. I'm sure Laden did not follow that. And I'm sure most of them that follow also know that I have consistently campaigned.
Follow until your outburst.
I campaign for this government to get elected, but I also don't hold back my view on some of the issues that are wrong. I must say, I have to go to bed and know that I said the right thing, and I have free conscience. I do not go to bed knowing that my kids are sleeping on the current and they got electricity, they got water, everything, and the other child that is in Dennis Jar village don't have access to that. But somehow people say in Monrovia and mistreating that they could actually get the service to them, but they can't get it to them. I don't want to feel guilty. So I always like to call things out. I think this particular process of LTA just did not play out right for the government. I think it was the way it playing out. It's just bad. It's bad PR, and everybody on social media that's working in government that support the government seem to be projecting that everything is right, which is wrong. We have to call a spade a spade. Like I said, I'm a UP person. I support the UP government, but when the things are wrong, we built the courage to call it out. I don't think JMB should have re-nominated or put these people as officer in charge. I think it was a bad move. I don't think it should have suspended these people. I think they should have stayed there, called the GSC to come and conduct the audit, establish all of the facts around it, and then call them one by one, each of the commissioners, and say, this is what the auditors have said. This is how you are implicated. Please, either you resign or we send you to Justice Ministry for prosecution, and we'll not have all this noise about, because right now, as it is, the 5 people can still go back to the Supreme Court and say, the process of me getting, my job done is being witch hunt by the president, and the Supreme Court will be obligated again to hear that case because it's a whole different case from the tenure process. So it's becoming ugly. The government can do better than this.
Dennis,
Famoli, were you in Zeruko with me?
I was there for only a year. Mohammed Sherry probably, for a year. That's why,
Yeah.
Right. Hold on, Ali. I'm coming to you, right?
Are we closing now?
No, they called their name. So after that,
everybody call my name. Oh, Glenn, you're not listening. When Paul calling my name.
No, I heard it because I want to respond to Kalabu also.
Yeah, Kalabu, not text me.
Let's be brief now because we want to do this thing. We want to do this thing in under 2 hours. Go ahead, Ali. 1 minute.
First of all, let me express my excitement for the way that got there with Nangwe.
Oh, wow. All the 100 people who call one of them one.
Whoever gave you that political analyst position, they must take it back from you. That person.
I know that after I told
let me say that.
Let me dealing with you. You feel forgetting. Let me forgetting the man what you calling you on name.
Let me say this, Israel. Listen, you see Ronnie Stomach, so Dennis. Anytime you see Ronnie Stomach stubborn in the town, he can't leave. Cannot reach the township yet. Once it reaches the township, it'll be the end of that Ronnie Stomach. But you're going to Glendy now.
Glendy.
So if I don't respond to Kalabu, I don't think I'm gonna have a good night's sleep.
Wow.
And that is because he was very disingenuous to mention the case of Jessica and blame it on Joe Boyka. The case of Jessica with Lucas happened during George Weah time. What Kalabu neglected from saying is that his brother, Councillor Gonglo, was a lawyer of Jessica. He was a part of the prosecution team. How did they prepare the witness? That the judge, this bench trial, the judge acquitted Lucas. But Kalabu ignored that. His brother is a well-learned lawyer. What happened? How did Jessica lose that case?
I spoke with Councillor Gonglo, and it's not exactly as you're saying, but go ahead.
I'm just saying, was he not a part of the prosecution team?
No, he said he was called at the 11th hour to advise by the Jessica, the Lloyd family, right? But the case rests with the government. That's the prosecution. I'm coming. That's why he told me, because I'm inviting him to come, and we are working on that. He said what he did was, at the time they called him now, was to cross-examine the witnesses. That's all he did.
So according to the family, he was the one that helped prepare Jessica, Councillor Gonglo. So how come? What happened? That Caleb will come on now and blame Joe Boyka and not even mention the fact that this case started from George Weah term, and it's not even about which government. It's just about the injustice that have happened. That's unfair. It has to be balanced. You can't come always and want to point at other people and then not say what the fact is. Even if Councillor Gonglo, and this is the thing, if Councillor Gonglo was not a part of the team, then I expected him to clarify this a long time ago. But he has said nothing publicly about it. And we are going with the assertion that yes, he was on the team of the prosecution. So don't come talking it like, oh, and making it seem like it's a fun. This young lady has a lot of issues right now she's dealing with, even including psych issues that she's dealing with. It's not a blame game. I look at it as a miscarriage of justice, and It's not something that we should take lightly.
Thank you. Well, we have 5 minutes to close, so I will give a fraction of a minute to each of you for your closing. Let's start with Father Washington. 30 seconds each for closing. We want to do this in 5 minutes.
I think it's been a healthy exchange, and I think we have shared some of the information. I think it's been a good show. The only thing is that I'm still waiting on one of these platforms. We talked about the killing, killing or what happened to the guy with the LEC, that LEC story about LEC workers. I haven't heard back from, I don't know what has happened to that story. I'm still waiting to hear what happened to that story. The story with the vehicle going to the parties in the Unity Party. I don't know what has happened to that story. These are things I'm just still waiting to hear to get feedback from, because I one person in this show who did say that, hey, it was good that we listened to the police and know exactly what happened, but I'm still waiting to hear. So, all of that, it's been a good show so far. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Aliyu.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me again, Dennis. It's a pleasure sharing platform with such a wonderful people. Mr. Eastman is one of those you easily learn from. But let me just say this to the sympathizers of CDC. Joseph Walker-led administration will administrate. The government will function, and it will function in pursuit of Joseph Walker's agenda. No amount of lecture, no amount of emotion or fear monger will dissuade JMB from doing what he has written in his ledger. Joseph Walker will transform this country, whether or not citizens like it. They can look for empathy in public opinion. It does not matter. Any attempt by Joseph Walker to fall prey, allow himself to fall prey to citizens' suppression, we will go after Joseph Walker like we've never known him before. Joseph Walker must stand fast. The police and the security apparatus must do their job in accordance with the law. It doesn't matter whether CDC say we divide it into 4 pieces or 10 pieces. The country will collapse. The sky will fall. They can say whatever they want to say. The law will be the law. The enforcement of the law must be of paramount to this administration. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Liberia is one thing that we have. It doesn't matter. A lot of you know. We stay in America and eat burger all we want. We think we enjoy it. But by the time you enter that dusty soil, West when they play 10 maroon from the dust on the ground. However, you just feel at home. You just feel like you don't want to leave. But by your pocket getting empty, you got no choice, you got to leave. So this is a country we all must hold together and make it better, not just for us, but for the generation after us. Mr. Eastman, this goes to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And let me remind you today, we had another fire in Monrovia, Logan Town area.
Yeah, that just about that point fire there too.
And that was pathetic, you know. So this is another fire. So, and I'm bringing this to your attention to say, you know, why we discuss these things, which I believe really don't matter much. Who gets in tenure position? We know all of them do nothing. Monrovia is still burning, and our fire service has no capacity whatsoever to put up one. And I'm thinking, what if we have fire like, God forbid, LPRC or Freeport or RIA?
How about just forget it?
Francis, you're closing. 30 seconds, please.
Yes, guys, thank you for having me again, and it's good. It's always good to be here. But I just want to say one thing, especially our listener. Try not to respond based on how something make you feel, because emotions is fleeting, it fluctuates. Respond based on what you think. Joseph Barker is not circumventing the Supreme Court ruling. He's not going around it. If those 5 people want to run by the Supreme Court, it's their constitutional duty. But President Barker was also show the Supreme Court the reason why he suspended them. And the Supreme Court will say you will uphold it or deny it like they always do. So right now, none of us know what's going on at the LTA. So whatever he asks the GNC to do, let him go and get it done. But we should start being emotional about things. And that's why suffering are people like Liberia, especially those that are privileged to come on platforms like these and speak to our people. We try to play on their emotions, and that's why keeping our people, our country the way it is. Let's tell the people what we think, so that at least they can make informed decisions as opposed to playing partisan politics all the time about every little thing. If you and kick the soccer ball on the field, people will play politics about it. Or John Weah, who was in 1996, kick it this way. They won't compare John Weah from 1996 to Joseph Boga in the 80s kicking soccer ball. Let's move politics out of it. Let them speak to the facts. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if that's possible. Meanwhile, the counter meet is going on. President, we are playing the last counter meet. Why is he not playing for Grand Crew this time? But we'll leave that for next week. Glendy, you're closing.
So it's been a great show. I've been off for a couple, maybe 2 Fridays. It was good to be back. At least my being here spice up all these men today. At least there's one woman making them looking good tonight. But I think it was a great show, Dennis. Thank you.
We always look forward for you coming by. Thank you. Victor.
Yeah, I want Glendy to know we missed her and we're happy that she's back with us. But I thank you all very much. Great show. I was going to say a lot, but I think Mr. Perkins actually he spoke for me. We all may not like what is being said, but if you listen to the callers that call in tonight, out of I think 10 or so callers, only one person, Mr. Jala, seem to disagree. So I think the president and his people need to get out of the echo chamber and listen to the real voices. They're not doing well. They're not. And this is not knocking on them. We're just speaking the facts as they come out of the executive mansion. Go to Senegal and come back and tell me. President got in office long before the president of Senegal. The president of Senegal government is up and running. This president today alone, 163 names just for Sano County alone. How big is Sano County? So where is the change that this president came to make? If he's going to be doing worse than we are. And that's what I was telling my sister Glennie, that alone, the argument that, you just come in, you will make mistakes. Of course, we know you'll make mistakes, but the mistakes, most of them are self-inflicted. They're intentional. Why is he wasting his time fighting the Supreme Court over TLA? And one of the callers said, he was going to dismiss the people until the Supreme Court told him, no, you can't do that now because you start investigating the people. So you're going to dismiss them without cause? This is not what we expected, and we're very disappointed. I am disappointed. They better do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kroma, I wonder what's wrong with NASCOP now? Is the NASCOP guy good to go? Go ahead, Mr. Kroma, you're closing.
Dennis, yeah.
It was a really good show, and I enjoy the conversation. Like I always, it's been a while since I've been on. I think this is probably my first or second show since the inauguration. And so, yeah, it's good to be back here again and to talk about our common patrimony. All of us, nobody is more patriotic than the other. I think we're just sometimes sucked into our, alliances that make us to see things differently. But as always, going to be back again. We're going to continue this, policy conversation about the country. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you. And it was because of this love for patrimony I was leaving my 6-figure job to go to Stanford, but that didn't happen. What happened?
Yeah, let's keep praying and hoping. If they don't do it now, next time next administration will happen.
Repetition.
It'll happen,
The
inshallah.
only person who promised me was
Inshallah.
Dr. Clarence Moneyba. He said, when I win, you got it. But
Of course,
it didn't happen.
you know,
just run for the presidency. I stay president over second round. You endorse somebody, you'll get a position.
Yeah, and that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to swim in the proverbial poo water that the chairman. Hey, cutie.
Yeah, Mr. Shelley,
Mr. Sherry, you're closing.
So Dennis, look, I read somewhere and it says change is the soul of continuity. You know, in Liberia, you have stagnant system. You have senators sitting there for 9 years. You have representatives sitting for 6 years. The president's presidential term is 6. These are too long. So now you want to add tenure to that too. You got people going to sit there, you know, not doing anything. Okay, I'm tenure. You're national lottery. I'm tenure. So what? Like, what are you doing? Or EPA, I'm tenure. You can't touch me. What are you doing? So what are we doing to ourselves? So this tenure has to go. So any kind of way that this goes is fine with me. This has to go. It's not tenable. And this is not the way. I don't care if I, you know, whether it's a president that I supported or one that I didn't support, I don't feel like they should be hampered and tied down by individuals sitting there calling themselves tenure position. I mean, we got tenures here in the United States, the tenure professors, you know, people, you know, whose academic scholarship is not subject to some damnation or removal. And now in Liberia, you got people sitting there not doing anything. They call themselves tenure. So I don't favor that. They need to get rid of it. And so finally, I think that, you know, there's a lot of noise, especially from Jim Victor. You know, Jim Victor, we have to understand that he's opposition. It's going to be opposition, and we have to respect that. I mean, he hasn't said much positive about the administration, and that is understandable. You know, that's the way opposition people talk. But when you are opposition, you have to sometimes be balanced. Look at things, you know, in a very, you know, centered way, measured way, so that, you know, you're giving the president, you know, the credit that he deserves, like roads right now. The road construction is going on. I mean, George, for 6 years, George would have never did any of this. So I'm glad that these roads are being constructed now. You know, he's not tied down to any of these things. And so, you know, so let us all pray. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right.
Thank you.
At least Dennis will be able to drive to go to Sando County with
What I'm doing, I'm bypassing that. I'm building the port of Greenville, and we're going to use the sea route. It takes just 3 hours from Harper to Monrovia. I want to be able to leave Greenville and go to church in Monrovia and come back.
It's
but
true.
Someone was talking about good story today, so let me show you one good story. This is a female teacher with the baby. She's teaching math.
Yes. She's amazing.
That's amazing.
Is that in Liberia?
This is in Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Covered the story yesterday. You have a female teacher. Childcare is an issue, so she goes to class with a baby.
Which county is it?
Where is that? It's Monrovia.
That is not good news. They're supposed to have childcare, so that teacher is not having her child in the classroom. That's not good news.
No, it's good news that did not tie her down. That did not tie her down. She has the skill, and she was able to get over that hurdle to still.
But that's the undue pressure that she's under to care for her child, at the same time impacting the future leader of our country. So we need to provide childcare for people like that.
Man,
so
lady is proving to you that she can do both. The lady is
no, you see, that's the problem. We get pressure the woman like that.
It's
just distraction. Right
here in America, with the children to school.
Francis, let's reach out to her. Let's give her some support right here.
That's how I wanted to ask. Then, do you have a direct contact?
Yes, we'll find out, because when we saw that story, I got calls that, hey, I want. So the reporter who went there, or Mr. Jeremiah Moba, who did the story, reached out to him, and he got the contact. We really love this girl.
We should sponsor.
I hope the signal to other kids who are in the school is not that.
Let's do something.
You don't worry. You can have a kid and you can also come to school. I hope that's
I
not.
don't think that's what it is. I think
No,
it's a tremendous
that
sacrifice
could be.
But that's not even a bad message either. That's not even a bad message either.
What's wrong with having kids and going
There
to
are
school?
people
Come
here.
on, Reverend.
What's wrong with having kids and
Stop
going to school? What is wrong with that?
No,
But
not
I'm
about
forgetting
having
that
kids
father
going to
you're
school.
talking to,
It's about
that
bringing a
priest.
kid in the
That
classroom.
priest.
You
You're forgetting the priest you're talking to now. You're talking to the priest.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Okay.
That priest.
Yes.
Let Jimmy give his
Yes.
Are you killing
So I'm wondering,
I like
even how
Dennis,
early gets to class alone,
Be
not
serious,
just
man.
spending
Be serious. Don't say that.
Sorry, Jimmy.
Dennis, I gotta go. Let me go put my daughter to sleep. I think
Dennis?
you're good being on.
Okay, I'm trying to wait for everybody to stop. Okay, you know, I'm trying to put Sam Waller to shame. We've seen a lot of progress on the roads.
No, don't please leave Sam Waller.
So, wait. So that is a
leave Sam Waller out. Please
we,
give your
we see
Sam
the
Waller
war
at
crime.
some of his, please leave Sam Waller. Let it. I mean, it is not my job to be government propagandist. We are discussing the Supreme Court ruling and the what Black guy did.
I'm about to land. So we see
the people that get paid for doing nothing. Let them do that.
Right.
It's getting distracting for him. Every day he lays these fake things. He said people went to Monrovia with a cruise, and that's supposed to be a good news. I saw a few Chinese people come out of the boat and stand there. Come on now.
Now, there is some
I still can get to a video game when I want to go, and you tell me cruise ship.
Actually, I hear that there's some Chinese people or Chinese companies who also open an industrial zone, a $500 million industrial zone. All of these things are positive. But let's look at the crux of the matter. Restoring a corrupt society is a long-term endeavor. It's not done overnight. Right. And it will require sustained political will and institutional reforms. Simply replacing personnel will not do it. But most of all, what I would like to see is societal engagement. You have to sell this idea to people that we have to change the way we do things. And if that is not established, all you're doing is superficial, because you have to attack the problem at the core, the root of the issue. And that is, it is endemic in the society. It involves all people. People have to change their psyche and the way they look at things. So of course, punishment will have to ensue pretty soon. So if you want to see that, I would have approached this whole thing by first, instead of just trying to replace them with tenure, I would have cited their misaction at these institutions and said, look, I see you've been doing certain things. I'm replacing you. That's what I would have done instead of trying to use any other method to go about it. So we have to attack the fundamentals.
Right. How about the eminent people to NASCAR? Anyway, thank you, gentlemen and ladies, for that. We want to appreciate all of you. I want to thank our viewers for watching. At this point, we're going to close with our song that says, whether you think JNB is doing excellent or not so good, we are all Liberians. Let's do our very best to make our country the glorious land of liberty.
Family, give me a call.
And God bless you.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. USA all we want. Liberia, oh. USA all we want. Liberia, Liberia.